Welcome back to our Nioh 2 100% walkthrough. This is main mission 2, The Beast Born of Smoke and Flames. My name is Azzavhar or Azza. Now let's get into the video. Okay, so you can talk to this NPC a couple of times at the start here, and they'll give you a Spirit Stone. So make sure to grab that. Then we got the Shrine up ahead. And rest at this and pop a few levels up. So what we'll do, we'll be focusing on Dex, Skill, and Magic. So I'll put in fact, I'll put 2 into Skill at this point and push Skill to 9. We'll need that for a little bit later on. For some of our ninja gear. An item tucked away in this house. Some enemies just up ahead, so we can pop these guys in the head. I'm going to switch to the Sacred Arrow. And back to the normal arrow. There we go. Sometimes if you hit an enemy in the head like that with the arrow, it might not kill them, but it'll knock them down. If it does knock them down, you can then use that opportunity to run on up and deliver a critical strike, which will do a lot of damage. You can smash these boxes. There might be some cash and some ammo and stuff in the boxes. Some arrows and stuff like that. So it's worth smashing these boxes. If you look in the bottom right, with the arrows, basically you've got the sacred arrows and the normal arrows. So you press X or Y, kind of like switch between the different types of arrows that you may have. So that is that. There's a door up there. That's a shortcut for later. So I'll leave that for now. I'm going to save my arrows and just fight this guy normally. Make sure to be pressing RB to get your key recovery. There's an enemy up there waiting for us. I'm going to fight him normally actually. You can just dodge his attack. RB for key pulse, key recovery. Get some random bits and bobs knocking about behind here. We'll head on up where that guy just dropped down from. We'll head up there in just a second. I think there's an item in this watchtower. So I'll grab that. Gunpowder Bomb. We'll need to use that to level up our ninjutsu skills. But basically, we need to be trying to get a point here in this ninjutsu skill tree. And basically, the only way to get a point in that skill tree is to use ninja items. Once we have a point, we can then apply it and learn something like, for example, Shuriken Throw. And then we can use Shuriken Throw to level up ninjutsu further. But until we've got a point in ninjutsu, then we can't unlock the Kunai ability and the Shuriken ability. Okay, so that takes care of those. We'll just grab this item in this house. Stone. And what we'll do is we'll approach this situation from up here. So you can approach this little village area in different ways. We've not quite got enough bow damage to actually take these out in one hit at the minute. Maybe this guy will. Yeah. One hit for that guy, that's fine. I think we've probably got a more powerful bow actually, but we'll just check that out in just a second. You can grab Scampers here if you want to. Give him a cheeky pet. Rolling around at the speed of sound behind us. This is where the guy dropped down from earlier. So you can grab those items just on that rooftop just there. And then we'll go back around. There is a treasure chest up the top of this slope. We're going to head up there. I think if memory serves, it's a longbow. Purple longbow, so we can grab that. Then we can use, well, we'll equip the purple longbow. Go to equipment, longbow, and then purple one. Make sure to press X to switch to your normal arrows. Headshot a few people whilst we're up here, so we might as well pop that guy. I think there's a guy behind that tree. Grab that guy. And this guy has a helmet on down here, so it's not going to one-shot him. Switch to sacred arrows there. Might have aggroed that guy. That's fine, we'll leave that for now, and then we'll just head down there and fight. Let's check out these rooftops first of all. I think there's something there, so we can get that. Gunpowder Bomb, that's good for skilling up our ninjutsu. We'll throw those bombs in a minute. Grab these, grab this. More arrows. The Kodama behind this house. We'll try and get the drop on this guy. Not quite sure where this guy's come from, to be honest, but we'll go with it. So we shot him once, took his helmet off, then I moved slightly to my left, and then shot again, which got the headshot, knocked him to the floor, and then got the critical strike on him. There's a Kodama just there, so make sure to get that one behind the house. Then we've got a treasure chest that is tucked away in this house here. Grab that. I think that kind of clears that area. We got the well from before, so we should have got a spirit stone from that. Might be an item behind here. There is. Grab that. And then we can push on up. We killed an enemy just here, so feel free to loot his stuff. Some extra arrows there, which come in handy. Item just tucked away behind this fence. Grab that. And loot chest in here. Okay. I don't think there's any loot in here. I'm not quite sure what's going on for this building, to be totally honest. Not too much going off in there. A couple of enemies coming on up. That guy's just tilted his head back twice and completely avoided our attack. We're trying to focus on just this one guy first of all before the other guy joins the party. There we go. So that is that. Should be able to headshot this guy as well if we are lucky. Got him, and then critical strike. Grab his loot. This is the shortcut that we mentioned a little bit earlier. You can open that up. It's quite a difficult yokai in this upcoming section, so that's why the shortcut is put there. There is a Kodama on this rooftop, just hidden underneath this sack here. So grab that. And then we can go fight the yokai. This guy is a bit of a spicy meatball, so prepare yourself for this. It's probably worth using a sacred water. Maybe wait for the sacred water when if he transforms into the yokai realm or the dark realm. With this, I think what we'll do is put on some of these bombs. So we can throw some of those bombs and hopefully get some ninjutsu skill points. Other than that, I don't think we've got any more ninja items, so should be good to go. This guy, what I would say is try and stay like a medium-ish kind of distance. Maybe go into mid-stance to give yourself a little bit more range away from him. And the first couple of swings in mid-stance give you more range, and then the last couple of swings in the combo it kind of closes in. So sometimes just going for the first two strikes like that and then backing out is a good way to fight this guy. If you do find yourself close to him, then high stance and just smash away in high stance. And if it goes into yokai realm, we might pop a sacred water to help us through. But other than that, yeah, let's give it a blast. So I'm pressing RB to purify those yokai pools. Like so. So kind of waiting for opportunities to attack. Trying to deplete his ki, which we have just done so we get the critical strike. He's going to turn it into Dark Realm, I think. Oh, not quite. It has gone, but he's only got one hit left, so I think we'll try and finish him off with a bomb, perhaps. There we go. So if you can deplete the ki, ideally go for that. And he'll fall down to the floor and you can deliver a critical strike, which does quite a lot of damage. So ideally try and go for that if possible. But generally just stay like a middle kind of ground and keep looking out for those chances to strike. Usually after he's done like a few hammer slams into the floor, is a good chance to like run on up and get some attacks in. Just a standard combo that guy and then grab his items. You drop down, attack from above there to kill this guy. There's a Kodama just hidden over here, so make sure to get that Kodama. Item just here.
What could possibly be in that huge forge?
One down here as well. Okay, so this bit we kind of jump into, it gets a bit spicy in this area. We have to essentially go into the Dark Realm or the Yokai Realm, and things get a bit spicy in that realm. So let's just take a look at our Kodama Blessing. We've got 5% Amrita acquired, which is always good. What we can do is make an offer. Basically, if you want to do anything to do with this Kodama Bazaar, if you want to buy anything from this Kodama Bazaar, they trade in Divine Rice. So if you look at the bottom of the screen, we've got 3 Divine Rice. So what you can do to get more Divine Rice is, first of all, I'm going to click in the right stick to order these in order of level. So obviously the highest level stuff will be at the top, and the lowest level stuff will be at the bottom of the list. And we're pretty much going to be using Kasuragami and nothing else. No other of these melee weapons. So what I'm going to do is press Y on these swords to sort of like tick them. Like so. So they're all ticked by pressing Y. Then I'm going to press A to trade them in. So press yes to trade those. And then we've got a bunch of Divine Rice from that offering that we just made there. And you can use that Divine Rice to get yourself a bunch of elixirs or sacred waters or whatever it might be that you want to grab from the bazaar. Obviously you've got normal arrows, sacred arrows, you've got cups. The cups are used for summoning help essentially. So you can summon help by either those blue graves that we saw before, one of these. It says here how many cups are required, 3 and we've got 4. I might actually do that so I can show you some AI stuff. Or you can also use the cups on this section here at the shrine where it says summon visitor. So this is kind of like the online co-op stuff. I believe you can put 1 cup down here for 1 online player and 2 cups for 2 online players to come and help you. If I'm not mistaken, but feel free to check that out. You can level up here, so I'm going to pop 1 into magic, 1 into dex. Let's see if we've got any ninja items. We've got 4. Not sure if we've got any more. So we need to be leveling that ninjutsu up ideally. This guy can be a bit spicy. It's usually best to try and get the drop on him. Like, one of his attacks is literally half my health straight off the bat, which is pretty harsh. You can push him into that fire. Sometimes pushing him into the fire is a decent strat there. He's out of key. We've got a rare drop there. That's a smithing text. Basically, what smithing text is, is when we unlock the blacksmith, which is what we unlock for completing this stage, we can hand that smithing text into the blacksmith, and it essentially acts as like a recipe, like recipe for like crafting a certain weapon or a certain piece of armor or something like that. So we'll hand that into the blacksmith once we complete this level. Other than that, we can push on forward. So this is the Dark Realm. You'll notice the compass is kind of like blurred out, and our key bar or our stamina bar is kind of like got a red aura around it. So like I say, in this realm, we are a lot weaker, and the yokai are a lot stronger. So gotta be really, really careful in this area. Watch out for this yokai jumping on down. What you can do, a little bit of a cheeky strat here, is kind of like pull them just outside of the Dark Realm, and you can fight them. Sometimes they sort of come out of that, and we can fight them out here. Yep. There we go. So, yeah, you can sometimes kind of like pull them outside of the Dark Realm and fight them just out here. But sometimes they might teleport back inside the Dark Realm. If they do, they'll teleport back in, but they'll any damage that you do to them will stay. So the health bar will just stay where it was. It won't refill back up again. So sometimes it's worth kind of pulling them outside of the Dark Realm. Kind of headshot these, but there is quite a few of them, so it might aggro a few more. There's one just behind those boxes as well, so just watch out for that. Also, you'll see there that purple sort of paralyze pool will kind of drop out. If you knock those types of enemies over inside of the Dark Realm, they'll get that additional attack, like kind of like defend themselves by dropping that paralyzed pool on the floor. So obviously don't stand in that, otherwise you will be paralyzed, which is not good. It will leave you open. Usually if you do get stuck in a paralyzed pool, basically they'll usually jump on your face and do a lot of damage, do like a grab attack and stuff. So there's quite a few bits and bobs to do in this area here. We've got an enemy tucked away behind here. Let's give him the old 1-2. This guy's been a bit spicy. And like I said, that's only 2 hits he's done to me, and my health is pretty much gone in 2 hits. So they would kill me in 3 hits, essentially. So always, if you are taking a hit or 2, I would definitely back up and pop an elixir before going back in. Let's check down here. I think this leads... there's a Kodama behind these boxes, so make sure to grab this Kodama. We saw a yokai a little bit earlier, and this will kind of lead us to where that yokai was a second ago. You'll see what I mean in just a second. I'm going to go mid stance for these. Oh no, it's actually just pulled one. No, it's pulled 2. I'm going to go mid stance here. Watch out for that grab attack. Yeah, so if you're fighting a couple of different enemies, mid stance is quite good. It also does, it's got more of a, it covers like more of an area, if that makes sense. When you're attacking, it's like a wider range as such. Thought we were going to get grabbed there actually, but we didn't. Okay, that is that. We got a core there as well. Not sure if I've got access to equipped cores just yet, but I'll take a look when we get to a shrine. Got some shinobi gear in that chest as well. So that pulls us back up into the Dark Realm. And ideally we want to be clear in this Dark Realm, which it is possible to do. You have to kill the specific yokai that clears the Dark Realm. So what we'll do, kick that ladder down there for a shortcut. There might be some items tucked away over here, perhaps. Take a look. No items, but you can get the drop on that axe enemy from before, from that section. And I believe we can get the drop on the yokai that we were talking about over here somewhere. Yeah, he's down there, look. So what we'll do is grab this item. Take this guy out first, because he's going to keep throwing those bombs at us. There we go. We've got some gunpowder bombs there, so hopefully we should have enough bombs to get a ninjutsu skill point. That's what we're aiming to do. This guy is a spicy meatball. I'm going to use a sacred water and then drop down. Tried to get a burst counter there, but it didn't quite work. We go outside, get some space. This guy hits like an absolute truck. We broke his horn, which has done a lot of key damage. Just made him fall down essentially, and we can deliver the critical strike. So high stance with the Kasuragami is really good for like breaking those horns like that. So basically just spin to win in their face, and it usually clips the horn. Does a lot of key damage, makes them fall over. And that was the one that was basically causing the Dark Realm. So obviously we've killed that guy. The Dark Realm has now been cleansed. And we're free to kind of run around as we please. I think there's a bunch of enemies that would jump out here somewhere, so just be careful on this section. We'll try and hit both with a bomb, and might give us a bit more chance at like getting ninjutsu points, if that makes sense. Used all the bombs, still no point, I don't think. That's okay, let's just double check. Oh no, we've got a couple of points, that's good. Basically, what we'll do here, for this boss, we're going to go for Shurikens and Kunai. So the Shuriken is that one, and the Kunai is that one. So we'll use those points. Now when we go to a shrine, we'll be able to actually equip our ninjutsu. And we can get properly started on leveling up the skills and stuff for it. Okay, so we've got a bunch of enemies to clear out in this area here. Let's take a look. We can head down some ladders just there. We can also go around the sides here. Go down those ladders first, I think. You can headshot a bunch of these if it does get them. There's quite a few of them, and it's quite difficult to see through the fire. I think there's a third one somewhere, but I'm not 100% sure. That'll do for now. And what we'll do is head down these ladders underground first of all. Down this way. There's a chest here. The enemy is knocking about, so feel free to pop those a cheeky arrow to the face. There we go, and we've got a chest. Let's grab that. Might be an enemy hiding somewhere here. So what we can do... Oh no, it's just this Sudama. You can actually greet these. It says it seems as though it wants something. You can drop an item on the floor. We'll drop perhaps an antidote, so press drop item and then drop one. I just leave it for a second, then it will auto pick it up, throw us a bunch of stuff. and be on its way. And that is that. Head on up here. I think this brings us kind of like to the rooftops of where we just were. But enemies knocking around here. If you can get the headshots and take them out, then definitely go for it. Got a core there as well. Quite a few sacred arrows there, which is always good. I think there might be some items knocking about up here somewhere. Enemy there, watch out for this guy. Item here. There might be one more enemy down there. Once again, watch out for this one where you can see sort of like the grey yokai realm there, or the dark realm. That will trigger that enemy to spawn in. Technically don't really have to fight him, so might just leave him, skip him. So it's that. Although you can fight him if you want to, it's entirely up to you. I've got a Scampus here. I think there's some items knocking about down here as well. There's one just tucked away behind this thing. I think there's an enemy on the ground. Watch out for this guy. Just pop him in the head. Sacred Water, which is very, very useful. I think I mentioned it in the last episode, but the Sacred Water basically helps restore your key gauge a lot faster. Smash these boxes for some drops and some arrows and stuff. There is a pretty difficult enemy coming up in this house. Not sure if we can one-shot him with the bow and arrow, but what we'll do is we'll use the Sacred Arrows or the Purification Arrows. See if we can... That's pretty decent damage. That guy can be pretty tough, so ideally if you can get the arrow headshot, that's probably the best way to go about that. And this area here will give us a shortcut. We definitely need to grab, so kick that down. Then you can jump down, it brings us back to the shrine. This is probably a good opportunity to check out the ninjutsu and stuff, so let's just check out skills. I'm going to pop some points into some stuff up here. So this area is kind of like all about the bow and arrows and sort of like range damage. We've also got something here which is Purify Yokai Realm Heaven. While in high stance, increase your attack strength when you perform a purification with a perfectly timed key pulse. So it's kind of like a temporary attack buff with a perfect time key pulse. We'll grab that, and we'll grab that as well. I believe that one has to be a well, it does say here purification, so essentially purifying those dark realm pools on the floor will help give us a strength buff. And then for Shiflin, I'm going to grab some stuff around this area. I usually get these ones here for Shiflin, and we'll just leave Kasuragami for now. And let's take a look at Ninjutsu. Oh, and we can also do soul cores as well. So there's quite a few bits and bobs that we should do here. First of all, let's bag a level. I'm going to go for... I'm just going to double check, first of all, what the skill requirement is for the ninja gear. I think we've got some ninja gear somewhere. Shinobi braces. So skill requirement is 6. You can see that down at the bottom of the screen. Basically what that means is where it says constitution and skill required, that is essentially what is required to activate these special effects. So if you do have those down here, then it will make these special effects active. If you don't have that requirement, then you won't have those active. So what we'll do, we essentially want ninjutsu power and stuff like that. So I'm basically just going to look through our gear to see what kind of shinobi stuff we have. And equip the shinobi stuff. I'll do for now. We might get some better ones a little bit later, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Equip those, sort those by level. This weapon is imbued with corruption. I just mentioned there. Let's have a look at our Kasuragami. So this is level 3, 109 damage. We should have a better Kasuragami by this point, I would imagine. Yeah, so level 8, 130 damage. Let's have a look at the special effect difference. We'll go for this higher level one, this level 8 one for now. And then on to the ninjutsu stuff. So what we'll do, pop a level into 2 levels into dexterity. I'll pop skill onto 10, dex to 13. We might actually have some spirit stones as well that we can use, so I'm going to pop those, and we can get some levels up here as well by using those stones, so we might as well do that. Might have one more. No, we're good. Get some more levels up. Pop those into dex. And then onto the ninjutsu. We could also do with the Onmyo magic, but we don't have access to that just yet. I'll cross that bridge a little bit later. Basically, what I would do, you press 1 and then you prepare them, and they'll go down onto the capacity bar on the bottom right. So you'll see we've got amount preparable 8 shurikens and amount preparable 7 for the kunai. So we've prepared the maximum shuriken that we can and the maximum kunai that we can. And our capacity is 14 at the minute, so we've got 9 out of 14 on our ninjutsu capacity. We'll also have to assign shortcuts for those as well. The 14 comes from the dexterity, so our capacity was 14, our dexterity is also 14, so that basically directly affects how much ninjutsu items you can prepare at a time. Obviously, if our dexterity is higher, then we can prepare more ninjutsu items, if that makes sense. Now that we've done that, we can go to items, and you'll see shuriken and kunai. These are green, they've got like a green colour, which means essentially every time we rest at a shrine, these will be restocked again. So we essentially have infinite, as long as we rest once we've used them, they'll restore and we can use them again. So we're going to press set shortcut. Shurikens are going to pop there. In fact, what I'm going to do is just change this around a little bit. I'm going to put those, should do for now. I think we've got Sacred Water still equipped. Right, we'll put Sacred Water here. So on our shortcuts, we've got Kunai, Shuriken, we've got the bombs, and if we go over to the other one, we've got Sacred Water on that side over there. We could ideally do with it on my own magic skill point, which we might be able to get by... well, there's either, I think there's a lock of hair up ahead, or you can use these amulets, water amulet. We'll hang on to the water amulet for now, because the boss that at the end of this stage is actually weak to water. So we'll hang on to those for now. But what a good idea to do is, if you wanted to do this, you can do this as many times as you want to, is rest at this shrine, have your kunai and stuff equipped, and then basically you can just use it on this guy here. Like that. You'll see on the left it said, earned 1 skill point with ninjutsu. And then you can literally just go back here, rest, run back up, throw some more, and then just keep leveling up your ninjutsu for as long as you want to. Keep in mind it might block some of the attacks. So, I'm not going to do that too many times, but we have got 1 ninjutsu skill point which we will use. And essentially that's how that works. So if you... obviously the more that you use a particular thing, if it's ninjutsu, or the more that you use on my own magic, you'll get skill points in it. It's another point. There you go. You're also earning experience points while you're doing that. Rest there restores our ninja items. And you can do that as many times as you want. What I'll do with those points that we just grabbed is upgrade the Shuriken and the Kunai. So you can sort of like put those up to the next rank kind of thing. And then once you've done that, what you'll find is when you go to Ready Jutsu, you can actually now prepare more than you could before, because we've given them the next rank, if that makes sense. So ideally, coming up for this next boss, you want to be ranking up those Kunai and Shuriken ranks, because it makes the boss a lot easier if you do that. Okay, so that's that. We've got that shortcut, and we've got the ninja stuff popping off now, which we will be using. There's an enemy up there. Could have really used a normal arrow for that guy, actually, but there we go. And these are really powerful. You can just basically stand back, throw them. They might block a few every now and again. Make sure you're locked on. There you go. You can literally just take out enemies by throwing those now. That is that. I believe there's a Kodama down here, so let's go grab that. A couple of these enemies, you can just use a bow and arrow. We can use your ninja stuff. Kunai are more powerful than shurikens, so depending on how much health the enemy has, if he's got lower health, then go for the shuriken. If he's got more health, go for the kunai. You want to try and use them like efficiently, if that makes sense. So that's the Kodama. Then we're going to head on inside the main section here, coming up to the boss now quite soon. Headshot this guy. I think it might just knock him to the ground because he's quite strong. Go for the critical. Some cups there. There's an enemy in there as well. There we go. Loot there. You'll be able to see our first hot spring, which is just hidden behind here. So we'll work our way over to the hot spring in just a second. But first we'll head on inside this building. We've got a shrine coming on up that we need to unlock. Some bits and bobs we can get in this area. There's some salt there. We're going to be using that salt, so make sure to pick that up. The salt will make the boss insanely easier. It's not 100% required. You don't 100% need it to defeat the boss, but it just makes it a lot easier if you do use it. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it in just a moment. There is a Scampus just there. You can wait for that Scampus. We'll probably use that for the boss, so you can just hold on to that Scampus for now. And help restore our magic when we fight the boss. What the... Right, sure what just happened there. I thought he just fell down the thing, but he didn't, but fair enough. I'll take it, I'll take it. So kick this off. That will put out the flames below. And allow us to start making our way through. Quite a few things happening in this area here. So we've got a sort of like a fake wall here, or a secret wall. Just here. So what the best thing to do is with these is to look for the red graves, which is like the graves of players that have died around this area. And if you look on the text, it says crushed to death by the wall for his friendly behavior. And the friendly behavior is like a blue color. So if you look at if you press start, that'll bring up your emotes. So you've got blue, yellow, and red. So this tells us here that the blue emote is what got this person killed. And this one was killed from the red emote. So if we use the yellow emote, technically, it should allow us to go through. has. There we go. So you can use that to your advantage. You can check the graves and try and figure out which one the wall likes and which one they don't like. So it'll change each wall. Sometimes they'll like the blue ones, sometimes the yellow ones, and sometimes the red ones. So just try and look around for the red graves. Got our first hot spring here, so make sure if you're going for the hot spring, all hot spring achievements. If you're going for the all hot spring achievement, then make sure to get this hot spring just here. Technically, you can fight these walls, so feel free to fight them if you want to, but if you can get the right emote, then you might as well do that. Makes life a lot easier. We've got an enemy in this section here, so let's go for that. Heal up. Go for some ninja items here. Depleted his key, so we got the critical strike. And we got the soul core there as well. Actually forgot about the soul cores, so we should go and check those out ASAP. Soul cores are very, very useful. So what I'll try and do is aim for this shrine. Got a shrine that's quite close. I'm going to go for a normal arrow on this guy. And switch to sacred arrows. This guy can be a spicy meatball, so just be careful. Oh, he broke his horn. There we go, so takes care of him. Ideally, try and break the horn if you can do so. The high stance with the Kasuragami will usually get the horn. Throw that water down there to douse those flames. A couple of different ways that we can go here. So we can go down there or this way. So what I'll do is go this way first of all. Aim for the shrine that we need to get. You go straight in with the attack here. Hopefully get the horn break. Deplete the key. There we go. Then they'll usually try and restore their key after you get the critical strike, or after a little bit of time with their key depleted, they'll try and restore it. They'll usually do some kind of like roar or something of that nature to restore their key bar. The enemy on the floor there, so you can just get a critical strike straight off the bat on that first one. And then we could take out that one. A couple of bits and bobs that we can grab around here. Watch out for the archer. Hits the wall there. Take him out. I've got an enemy that will spawn here. Going to throw some bombs. These guys pack a punch as well, so be really careful about their attacks because they do hurt a lot. There we go. Especially because we've got the ninja gear on now. We've got shinobi gear, and when we play in shinobi gear, we're quite squishy. So we'll take quite a lot of damage. Just got on my own mage's locks there, and because we've got that setting on from the first episode that I mentioned, it's auto used the mage's locks, which means we've got a skill point now in on my own magic, which is what we need in a second. We've got a Kodama behind here, so make sure to grab that. And kick this water off to douse the flames down there. What we'll do is go get the shrine first, which is this way. Watch out for this guy. we go. You can use bow and arrow like that, then definitely go for the bow and arrow approach. I believe this is a key item for the boss room. Yeah, great forge key, so make sure to grab that for the upcoming boss. This is the shrine here, so we can get a shortcut here. Open this. There's a few bits and bobs that we need to do before pushing forward. What I'll do is just go on to manage soul cores and just give a bit of info about that. Basically what we can do, these are the soul cores that we have, and you essentially equip those into your main guardian spirit. So the one that I always go for, we've got two versions of it, so what I'm going to do is soul fusion. We've got two Enkis. I always have an Enki equipped because it saves your life a lot. We've got level 14 Enki. What I'm going to do is merge that with a level 2 and perform soul fusion. That'll give us a slightly upgraded Enki core. So I'm going to press on Enki, attune soul core, attune that with our guardian spirit, which is this one here. We've got the Makami, and I'm going to put it as right trigger and X. So that will give us an ability, and it will also give us these special effects that are listed. It gives us those two main things: the ability that we can actually use, and then special effects. We can also equip another one. So perhaps we'll go for Mizuki. Or maybe this could be quite good. It's got Amrita Gauge Charge, which is quite good. See if we can fit it on there. We can. So yeah, let's pop that on. And when I mentioned the active skill, basically how that works is when you hold down right trigger, you'll see those yokai horns appear on your character. And you'll notice we've now got Y, X, and B in the top left-hand corner. It also tells you how much magic it costs to use those abilities. So the one that says, the top one that says Y, that will cost 6, and the one that says X, that will cost 5. And that will take it directly from the anima bar or the magic bar. So for example, the Enki one is where he kind of throws that spear. I'll try and find your enemy so I can show you. Like this, for example. So that's used 5 of my magic points. And it's thrown that spear. That's kind of how the yokai abilities work. You've got all different types of yokai and all different types of abilities that they can do and such. That Enki one will save you bacon a lot. I'll explain that in just a moski. What we'll do first of all is just upgrade some ninja stuff. So I'm going to upgrade the kunai, and then we have on my own magic because we've got that lock of hair. Quite an important one to get for the on my own magic is this one here, the Purification Talisman. So we're going to be using that in this boss fight coming up. So make sure to get the Purification Talisman. And then we're going to ready the magic. Now we can press Purification, put on 3 of those. And we've upgraded the kunai so we can equip more kunai now as well. That is that. Got a couple of places that we need to check out before fighting the boss. So let's do those. It might be an item tucked away somewhere here. Oh, it's here, look. We'll grab that. And then we've got the section that we didn't explore before. So let's go explore that. Yeah. Those enemies would have respawned. So I'm just going to headshot that guy again. That's the Enki ability that he's using himself. we go. Fix him out. He's got a few items there. So other than that, we've got a little bit to explore down here. Got some enemies that are waiting for us down here, so you can pop them in the teeth. Do an attack from above there. I think there's a Kodama down this area, if I'm not mistaken. Can get this guy with a headshot. Yeah, it's over here. So all of his missions, Kodama spirits, have been guided to the shrine. So that's all Kodama spirits for this level. I've got an enemy. I think there's an enemy down here. So let's see what he's got to offer. Might be able to use a lot of our ninja stuff to just throw at him, really. So I use some Enki stuff there. I'll try and explain how that works. Basically, if you are out of ki, which we were, your character will kind of like be stood around doing nothing for like 3 seconds or so, and there's nothing that you can do apart from stand there and take a hit. However, if you use a yokai ability, it will actually cancel out that sort of like out of ki animation, and you can kind of like cheat your way out of it. So what I did there was, when I was out of ki and I was like stood around with, and I couldn't move and stuff, I basically used my Enki ability, which also like puts you up into the air. So you kind of like, a lot of the time it will allow you to dodge an enemy's attack. Sometimes it doesn't though. And I think Enki costs 5, so technically you can do 2 Enkis back to back, which is really, really useful. Going to be very close to killing us, so be careful with that. There we go, that guy was a bit spicy, but there we go. So that's a shortcut there to the the shrine down here. So you can rest at that if you need to, just be aware it will respawn enemies and stuff. Get some stuff from there. We've got a good accessory from there as well. So we've got all the Kodamas. We've got all the spa locations for this area, so we can push on forward. There's just one more area to check before the boss fight. And that area is kind of like in the middle of this bit here. This room. What I'm doing as well is purposely holding on to my yokai transformation. You'll see my yokai transformation is at 100. I'm ideally going to keep that for the boss itself. So what we'll do is drop down. I'm going to head down this mid section here, but I'm going to rest up first before we head down the midsection. Going to check our skill points because we've got a few to use. We can level up the Shuriken. So we'll do that. Pop a few points onto Shiftling stuff. A couple of points onto Samurai as well. Just check the Ninjutsu. We should be able to pump a few more of those on. The magic is fine as it is for now. So we need to put the magic actually on our quick items. So go to your items, usable items, Purification Talisman, set shortcut. I'm going to set that on the down button. We're also going to set a shortcut for Salt. That's for the upcoming boss. Pop that on there. We've got a couple of stones that we can use to level up. Use the stones. I think that's all of them. Not sure if we can get a level out of that. Let's check it out. We can. Pop maybe a point onto Constitution there. In fact, I'm going to put a couple of points onto Constitution. That's going to be our health, just to keep us a little bit more alive during the fight. And that the Purification Talisman is classed as magic or on Nioh magic, and once again it's a green colour, so it will regenerate when you rest at a shrine. So what we'll do next is head into the midsection. I'm just going to run straight into it. Down here. There might be some enemies that follow us, so I'm just going to wait a second. I was hoping this large one would not actually follow us, but there we go. Might be able to get a drop on him from there, perhaps. He's avoided it. There we go. Because there is another yokai down here, so gotta watch out for him because he's quite powerful. What I'm going to do is use a purification. What you can do is actually just use your ninjutsu stuff, just run back a little bit. Kunai is really, really powerful. It's kind of like leading around this building. There we go. That clears this area of the Dark Realm as well. So that is that. We are rewarded with a chest. Grab that. We might have some better shinobi gear, so we'll check the shinobi gear in just a second. That is kind of the entire area now cleared out, so we're coming up to the boss fight now. So we've got this chest here, make sure to grab that. You can open this shortcut. Pretty much just leaves the boss. We are going to be going for a particular strategy on the boss. So make sure to rest up first of all. And now we shall prepare for the boss fight. So this is done in a very particular way. I'm also going to set water amulets, which we may use. So I'm going to set those as a shortcut. So let's have a look if we've got any stones we can use to level up first. We do not. So the shortcuts, I'm just going to show you, we have Elixir, Kunai, Shuriken, Purification Talisman, and then on shortcut set 2 we've got Salt, Water Amulet, and Sacred Water. So this boss is weak to water. Sacred Water is pretty much a must because it will help us with our ki regeneration. Technically don't need Salt, but what it does is it will take a massive amount of ki away from their bar. And it also gives them a debuff called Purification. So what happens with yokai is if you put two different debuffs on them, for example, Purification debuff and a different element like fire, water, or lightning, it will cause them the confusion status. And if they've got the confusion status on, they will receive a massive amount of ki damage. I'll show you that in action. So this next fight might happen quite fast, but we'll see how we go with it. Just going to check my shinobi stuff first. No, that's fine. That's all fine. That's all fine. Just going to check skill points real quick. Shifling. Extends duration of yokai shift. This stuff here will come in handy with your yokai shift and fighting in the Dark Realm as well. So make sure to bag those. I've got 2 Kusuragami skills, but can't really use too many of these points, to be honest, at this point. I'll just leave that for now. Okay, so other than that, we are good to go. Might be able to get some salt from the Kodama Bazaar. Let's see if they sell it on this level. They don't, that's fine. Okay, so there's one last thing that I would actually recommend checking, and that is your accessories. So we've got the Kodama sensor and this Sudama on as well. So for the boss fight itself, we're not actually going to need a Kodama sensor because there's no Kodamas in there. So what I'd recommend doing is switching this out with something different. For example, we've got this medicine case, which is Ninjutsu power plus 20. So we might as well pop that on. And this boss also does fire damage, so we might as well look for something that's useful against that. This, perhaps we've got plus key and we've got fire resistance on there as well, so we can pop that on there. There are a couple of things on here which might interest you, which is the auto grave recovery. So this is a little bit like Dark Souls, where if you die, you'll leave your guardian spirit on the floor where you died, and if you can make your way over to them, you can then retrieve your lost experience points or your lost Amrita. So auto grave recovery might come in handy for getting that back. There is a chance that it will automatically retrieve your grave upon death, and you can also stack that together. So you could stack 2 items back to back with your accessories to make that auto grave recovery higher. But for now, that will do. We'll do that. And yeah, this we'll just jump straight into it. It might happen quite fast. We're essentially going to try and put purification onto the boss, and also the water debuff as well. We have to make him hit some columns, and water will drop on his head. So let's jump into it. I'm going to put the purification on. Just jump straight into the boss fight itself, and then we'll use some sacred water behind him. Watch out for those fire things on the floor. This is the column that I was talking about. He's going to hopefully hit this column, please, so he gets the water debuff. Like so. That'll drop on his head. We can then put purification on him. He's now got purification as well. He's got the confusion status now. Jumped into his yokai realm. What we'll do in this realm is use our yokai form. Watch out for that. It's quite difficult to counter that as well. Just putting that out there. So that's got water on his head. Gives him the water debuff. We're going to hold down our strong attack to make our hammer bigger. And try and back him against the wall if we can do. Strong attack when he's down. Try and get him with that. Back up, because he'll do that whirlwind thing when he stands up. We're still in our yokai form. I'm going to try and show you a little bit more, if I can do. I think there's one more water column over here. You can use your kunai and your shuriken. Make him hit the column, get water debuff. Kind of wreck his HP. You can throw kunai from afar. You'll notice that does quite a lot of damage. So technically you could just stand back and just finish him off there with kunai and shurikens, stuff like that. But I know that happened quite fast, but essentially just to kind of go over some of the stuff that happened there. Basically, you want to make him hit these columns. The column will drop water on his head. That will give him the water debuff. We then applied the purification on him as well. By doing a combo there, that will build up the purification debuff on him. So if he's got the water debuff and the purification debuff on him at the same time, that will give him the confusion debuff, which does insane levels of ki damage. And you ideally want to keep him out of ki if possible. When he dropped into the Dark Realm there, we transformed into our yokai form to help us out a little bit. In the Dark Realm, if you don't have your yokai form, don't worry too much. You can just wait it out by running around. Eventually he will come back out of the Dark Realm if you do give him enough time in there. So you can just kind of run around and wait for the Dark Realm to end. You could also throw salt at him. So the salt kind of acts very, very similar to the way that the Purification Talismans work. But with the salt, you have to be like right next to him. And it just throws a little bit of salt directly in front of your character. So you could throw a bit of salt at the yokai, and that will also put the purification debuff on as well. So it is an option to use that, or use the purification talisman. We haven't really used any shurikens or kunai, so feel free to use loads more of those. They do decent damage, especially if he's completely out of key. So feel free to pop those. And with the elixirs and stuff, make sure to use, if you've got any divine rice, you can use your divine rice to buy some more elixirs and make the fight a little bit easier and a little bit more manageable. But yeah, other than that, that's the fight there. Let me know if you got any questions and stuff about that. I'm going to go ahead and end mission and skip through these cutscenes. We don't want to check those out. And that kind of wraps up mission 2. So hopefully you found this video helpful and useful. If you did, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.